Hi, welcome back to A Case of Books. Today I'm going to talk through my top 5 books that are coming out in May. The last month has been mega busy for me. I was on tour with 2 authors, which left a little bit less time for reading than I usually have. So here are some of the books that are still high up my to-read list that are all coming out in May as well. And then having said that, this first book actually came out in April, although I could have sworn that it was scheduled for May when I first got a copy. It's the first book by comedian Sarai and it's called Animal. As you can see from the subtitle, the autobiography of a female body, it's all about female bodies. So she talks about periods and babies and abortion and sex, all within the context of both her personal experience, but also she's done so much research into the science behind all of these things. So she talks a lot about how ideas of gender have evolved and why we think the things that we do. It's super smart and super funny and also really moving at times. The obvious comparisons are with other feminist memoirs, but I think you'd also find it interesting if you like a more scientific approach to gender. Next is a book that you probably actually already heard of if you live in the UK, as it's the Waterstones Children's Book of the Month this month, and it is The Girl of Ink and Stars by Kieran Millward Hargrave. This is a gorgeous, fast-paced, magical adventure story for children that I absolutely loved. It's set on the mythical island of Joya and it's all about friendship and loyalty and being brave and standing up for the right thing. It's also been particularly beautifully published by Chicken House with maps and these gorgeous illustrations around every single one of the pages, which means it's just an absolutely lovely book to have on your bookshelf. It's one for fans of really enchanting, classic feeling children's storytelling, so things like Coraline, Peter Pan and Journey to the River Sea. Now, it is no great secret if you follow me on any of my channels that I am a massive Tudor history geek, and so my next pick, which is Alison Weir's 6 Tudor Queens, Catherine of Aragon, should come as no surprise. I actually studied early modern history at university, and like many other people, I'm endlessly fascinated by the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Alison Weir is a historian and has written several non-fiction books about the period, as well as some novels, but this is the first in a new project where for 6 years there will be a novel each year, each one focusing on one of the wives. I loved this, and it made me empathise with Catherine of Aragon in a way that, as an ardent Anne Boleyn fan, I never really had before. She brings so much colour and emotion to the period that we feel like we know so much about. But it's also completely grounded in historical fact, and she doesn't really play too much with what we know definitely happened. So it's a really great introduction to her life, but it's also just a really enjoyable and really moving read. And needless to say, I can't wait for the Anne Boleyn book next year. Ultimately, with recommendations, it comes down to whether you find these 6 women fascinating, and if you do, you will love this. Next is a book that is your perfect summer YA read. It's a debut novel by Harriet Ruta Hapgood, and it's called The Squire Root of Summer. It's a gorgeous, smart, hazy summer read set on the coast of Norfolk. It looks at all sorts of things, including first love and first sex, grief, friendship, relationships, and also some baking, and also some time travel. It's got a super appealing cast of characters, in particular the main character Gotti, and it's just so evocative of those summer holidays between school years. So then, when you add in all the stuff about physics and time travel, as well as a bookshop as a major setting, then you really are onto a winner. It's one for fans of YA classics like Anna and the French Kiss, but also if you like a bit of time travel with your YA romance. My final pick for May is a new book by one of my absolute favourite authors, Maggie O'Farrell. Her new book, which is called This Must Be the Place, is arguably my favourite. It's certainly up there tied with her first book, After You'd Gone. Maggie O'Farrell always just seems to hit that magic spot between brilliant storytelling and beautiful writing. It plays with a lot of the themes that Maggie O'Farrell often does: finding yourself, finding a home, finding love, but with a completely new original story set half in Brooklyn and half in rural Ireland. It's also got a slightly more playful structure than some of her previous books, and I really enjoyed getting the perspectives from lots of different characters and the jumping around in time and place, as well as some of the sections which are in slightly different formats. It's also another particularly beautiful book, this time masterminded by Tinder Press. It's got these gorgeous map hardcovers underneath the dust jackets. If you've never read her before, then this is an excellent place to start, and if you are already a fan, then you will not be disappointed. I really want to compare it to Jessie Burton's new book, The Muse, but it's not actually out yet. It's probably a little bit unhelpful. But if you do like her style of writing, as well as Harry Evans, Kate Atkinson or Chris Cleave, then I think you'd enjoy it. So those are my favourite books coming out in May. I'd love to know if you're planning to read any of them or what you've been enjoying. Here are some more places you can find me, and please remember to like the video and subscribe.